Mind of Christ. Part 8. From the 262 readings. How can we discriminate between selfish and unselfish desires? What is motivated and does motivate the desire? Is it for self or for the glorification of the Christ consciousness in thine experience? Each soul may find in self an answer to that it seeks or desires to know from what source the desire has originated or the desire's impelling force. First ask self in the physical consciousness and answer and find an answer. Yes or no. Then enter into the inner self through meditation and prayer and seek the answer there. My spirit beareth witness with thy spirit as to whether thou art the sons of God or not, in thine activity, thine desire, thine purposes, thine aims. What should I do in order to bring into material manifestation my desires? Are not physical needs in life spiritual in essence? If the desires for the physical things in life are spiritualized, they are indeed then as necessary as the higher motivative force in spiritual things. But who is the judge? He that is the giver of all good and perfect gifts. Even as he prayed, Father, let this cup pass from me, but thy will, not mine, be done. Again and again do we see in this the manifestation of the flesh warring with the spiritual life itself. And we are to be in that position in our desires that his pattern, his life, is the pattern for our lives. Seek ye ever, but thy will, O God, be done in me, through me, as thou seest. For the desire of my heart is that I may be the channel of blessings to others in the ways and manners thou seest. Not my way, O Lord, but thy way. I saw the Christ again. This time it was a radiant Christ, and the morning seemed to be breaking just above his head. What does this mean? What indeed should it mean to each soul, to any soul, to thy soul, that thou hast been through thine experience, granted a privilege of such a vision? It should make thee the more humble, the more self-sacrificing, the more glorious in the praises that thou art, even in the way of being shown many things. If ye will but live the life. What did he give as thy standard? Inasmuch as ye do it unto the least of these, my brethren, ye do it unto me. Then, see rather in that thou wouldst give in word of mouth, in deed, in act of body, that thou art ministering unto thy Lord. I will come again to you, and comfort you. I will receive you unto myself. I will abide with you. Art thou living in such an atmosphere? It is being opened before thee. Turn it not aside. What is the difference between the desire of the heart and the desire of the will? And is it not possible for harmonious coordination of these? How may it be attained? Only in him. In speaking of the heart and of the will, analyze for the moment as to what they represent in thine own experience. The heart is ordinarily considered the seat of life in the physical, while the will is a motivative factor in the mental and spiritual realm. To be sure, these may be made one. But how? In that the will of self and the desire of the heart are selfless in the Christ consciousness. As he gave in the shadow of the day when the cross loomed before him on Calvary, when the desire of the heart and the will of self were made one. As he gave, the flesh is weak, the spirit is willing. If the spirit and the will of the inner self will be made in accord with the spirit of truth, in the desire of the heart to be one in and with and through him. For, the soul is in him. Yet, as the promise in the Christ is, the soul shall be free in him through that love, through that manner of making the desire and the will one in the Father, as did he in Gethsemane. What is desire? How does it build physically? This has been given. And how does it build physically? Desire, as first given, was in the motivating force that may separate, or make the soul one with or separate from the whole, through the manifestations in the will. And it builds, in that the spirit moves in the direction in which it is motivated by will and desire. Is it necessary to give up physical desires for spiritual development? Rather spiritualize the physical desires as he did in the garden. There is shown thee as to how the physical, the spiritual, fought one with another. Father, let this cup pass from me. This is as every experience in the physical man when there is the fear of the loss in this or that direction. There is the constant, Father, save me from this. From this. Yet, even as he, if there has been builded in thine experience as was in his experience offering himself for the world, then thou must pass through same, in making the physical desire and the will of the Father as one, that there may be the cleansing in the soul of those things, that may bring the consciousness of the oneness with the Father in whatever realm. What should we hold in mind when we hold the affirmation in the present lesson, let thy desire be my desire, etc.? What to hold in mind? Hold the Christ before thee, ever. For, he has promised to take his own self, and to take thy burden upon himself, as he bore same. Rather would thy prayer be. I cannot bear this alone, my Savior, my Christ. I seek thy aid. And such a cry has never, no never, been denied. The believing and acting heart. Let the desire ever be, then, that thou may never sin against thy fellow man, for God is the avenger. And from him, we may in mercy find mercy, as we show mercy, patience, truth, justice, loving kindness, to our fellow man. For, as ye do it unto these, my brethren, ye do it unto me. Preferring oneself above another? No. Preferring others above thyself, that thou may be the arm, the shoulder, the one upon whom someone may lean in coming to know the knowledge of the love of the Christ in their experience. Well, first, that you each make that move necessary to give expression of your own experience, as in reference to that which has brought to you a knowledge of desire towards the Christ consciousness moving in and through the efforts of the body in your own experience. Then may there be truly given that which may aid you in understanding your approach the better. For, each soul is a free will agent in a material world, with a choice before it in its own experience. This you each will recognize as you meditate upon putting it into activity. To know to do good and to do it not, as what? He that it experienced same gave that it is sin. Listen to that which convicts you that activity is necessary in your experience, in order to come to the knowledge and understanding of what an approach should be. Through such an activity. Why, say ye, activity? For the Lord thy God is a living God, not of stone, but a living God. And the Christ, thy mediator, thy brother, is a living Christ, that may be known of all that would seek to have his consciousness. For he has come to those among you, he will guide and protect you. He is in sorrow when ye speak unkindly, when ye forsake even for the moment that thou hast purposed. Thou hast purposed. In thy heart to do. Make thy purpose, thy desire, one with him. Here am I, Lord, use me. Send me. As the purposes and desires of the body, the mind, are made more and more in accord with it thou cease to praise in thy fellow man, more and more will the consciousness of the Christ Spirit working in and through men be manifest in thine own heart. That thou purposeth has brought. And purpose in thine inner self. That consciousness of the purposefulness in being one with that Spirit of truth that maketh every soul alive in him. Let thine praises be, then, to the Father of light in whom there is no variableness, and he will walk with thee as thou goest about doing good. Let thine inner self, thine consciousness of the desires and purposes of thine heart, be more and more one with him, leaving with him. That is within self. That knowledge that he will be thy guide, wilt thou, but let the Christ have his way with thee. Let thy yeas be yea and thy nays be nay in the purposes of the Lord. As the ways are opening before thee, as to how the desires of the heart, of the mind, may make for the pathway being bright or dim, so let the light of truth in the promises in the Christ be in thine life, that thy words, thine acts, may be in keeping with it thou desirest toward thy Lord. For, as ye do it unto the least of thy brethren, ye do it unto thy God. For he is in the life, he is the life, of thy brethren. Glory and praise to him who purposes in his heart to seek the Lord, while he may be found in thine own self. For he is not far away, but even in thine inner self. Open the door of desire towards him in such measures, in such manners, as to bring in thine own experience, the ways of the Lord being manifest in thine daily life. For his promise has been, ye that seek in the name of the Lord thy God, thy Christ, thy Savior, shall receive according to the desire of the heart unto the Christ having his way with thee. What is thou purposed? That ye may know the way in the light of thine own desire, or that the Lord would have thee do. Come, my children, ye that seek the Lord. He is nigh unto thee. Thou hast purposed well in thine studies, in thine preparation for those that would seek through these channels to know more of what thy Lord, thy God, would have them do. Be not satisfied, but rather content in that ye are being a channel of blessing to thy fellow man. Thou art as the leaven that will leaven the whole, for some there be among you that will hear his voice. And he will walk and talk with those that are willing, joyously, that he, thy brother, thy Christ, thy Savior, would direct thy ways. Keep the faith.